There will be three types of people watching this video. The people who actually studied history, they know what actually happened in history. They know what's going on, what happened to the Palestinians. And therefore, based on that, they're standing on their side. And then the opposite side of people who actually also, they studied history. They know exactly what is going on. And that's why they're against Palestinians, because they don't care. And they're happy with the massacres that is taking place. They're happy with whatever killing is going on today in the land of Palestine. And then you'll have people in the middle. People who are ignorant of history, people who are not that familiar with the situation. They do not know what was happening in that region in the past. And they are in the middle side. They think this is an equal war. And they think that they should give condolences for both parties, and they should look at it as an equal situation. And they think that is the rational position to be in. So this video is directed to those type of people. The people who think that this is an equal war. People who think that there's massacres on both sides and that this is completely equal. And we should end war, and we cannot be on one side and leave the other side. This video here, I'm going to provide you with facts that if you have any sincerity in your heart, if you have a human heart, you would know why this is not an equal war. You would know why this is not the case. So if you have any sincerity, watch this video, and I will have to avoid using certain terms because of the censorship, obviously, on YouTube and other platforms, that they wouldn't allow you to push the video forward unless that you use specific terms and you avoid other terms. So help this video to reach the most amount of people as possible by liking it, sharing it, and letting people know and sending it to them so they can actually watch what's going on. Those people who are oblivious to reality, who think this is actually an equal war between two parties and two sides. And that's why you always hear this phrase being used by the people on the opposite side, that Israel has the right to defend itself. And that's why most of those people watching the media think that this is the case, that actually the Palestinians have been attacking them. They have the right to defend themselves. They have the right to do whatever they're doing. So let's actually talk about some of the facts, some of what's actually going on the ground, and not hypothetical fairyland scenarios that have been put forward in the media, and the wider context that they're not actually talking to you about. The first thing I'm going to talk about is the Israeli army. What is the Israeli army? The Israeli army is over 500,000 personnel. Those over 500,000 personnel, they have battle tanks. They have an air dome defense against all of the missiles that goes against them. They have assault rifles, the most modern weapons you can imagine. And more weapons are being given by the Americans on a daily basis. They have 2,000 personnel as Navy. They have over 64 battleships. They have over 90,000 personnel working in air forces. They have over 684 aircrafts, like the F-15, F-16, F-35, A-4, and all of these types of modern aircrafts. They have a universal healthcare system that is ranked the third in the world. So put this picture in your mind. They have a budget of over 20 billion per year, per annum, just for their military and just for their forces. Now, this is one side. This is the Israelis. Now, compare that to the Palestinians, who are living in Gaza, 2.5 million people in the most populated, dense places that you can even imagine. Over 400 or 500 people in each 100 square meters. Okay? So 2.5 million people, over 500 of each is in 100 square meters. Can you imagine or understand what is going on here? The sea is controlled by the Israeli Navy. The land is controlled all over the place by the army. There's a blockade that is even labeled illegal by the UN themselves. So they are labeling that blockade that is taking place as illegal. Now they cut the water. There's no water. There's no food. There's no electricity. And before that, they were putting them on what they call the diet. So they're not allowing the food to enter.
Targeted attacks on civilian infrastructure with a clear aim to cut off men, women, children of water, electricity and heating with the winter coming. These are acts of pure terror, and we have to call it as such.
Gaza, this is before the events that you can see happening today. So this has always been the case. There's no electricity. There's no way that they can do anything. The hospitals that they have are being bombed. The media centers are even being bombed. The media personnel are being killed. The human aid people are being killed. According to the UN, they will tell you that even the media personnel that have nothing to do with this are being killed. Now, when we look at the side of the Palestinians now, what army do they have? They have zero army, zero navy, zero air forces, zero tanks, zero weapons, zero military budget, nothing. Over 43% of the population are under the age of 15. They're children. Over 43% of the population, not to mention women, not to mention children. So do you understand what we're talking about here? We're talking about people who are put under the largest air prison in human history. These people every day are thinking, when is the next bomb is going to hit us? They're sitting in their buildings. There is no food. There's no water. There's nothing. Everything around them is being blockaded. And whoever tries to escape is being killed. Now, what kind of equal war are you talking about? Are you living as a human being in the same planet that we're living in? This is similar to someone putting a family in a prison cell and then not giving them food, not giving them water, not giving them anything. And one day, the father, he gets upset, so he throws a fork at you, plastic fork at you. And then you get a shotgun and you kill everyone there. And then you say, I have a right to self-defense. This is a similar analogy to what is going on. You need to understand that this is not an equal war. Whatever is going on right now between the Palestinians and the Israelis is the exact definition of manslaughter, killing of the individuals who have no way to defend themselves. Now, you will get some people who are completely oblivious of reality who will come and then quote Hamas. And they will tell you Hamas are killing children, Hamas is killing the elderly, Hamas is doing all of that. Leaving the fact that all of this, what I was talking about, has been going on for over 70 years to the Palestinians, them living in this place, them being kicked out of their homes, them being refugees. This has been happening since the beginning. And people will ignore all of that. And then when there is a group of people who will try now to do some armed struggle, now they will say to you, look, it's an equal war because you have Hamas, ignoring the fact that I'm talking about Gaza now, not Hamas. And I'm talking about the Palestinians. I'm not talking about people who are armed, who have forces or have weapons.
But the truth is that when you occupy a people for decades, and I say that as someone who is Jewish, I'm a Jewish German Australian, and I've reported on this issue for 20 or so years, that I am surprised by obviously the timing of this, but at the same time not at all surprised by the reasons behind it. That somehow there's a belief that you can lock people up, occupy them, and of course let's not forget, Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International and others have called what's happening in Palestine apartheid. That's their words. Every Israeli human rights organization has called it apartheid. If that is the case for years, and it is, and I've reported on that myself, as have other journalists, eventually people will snap. People will break. You cannot continue to behave like this as a Jewish state, a self-described moral state, and expect Palestine simply to lie down and accept it. When you occupy...
And in case you're wondering, there is no doubt that Muslims condemn the killing of any innocent babies or children or women or anything to do with that. That is clear in our Islamic tradition. But let's look at this footage. Let's look at Hamas and what they actually did and what they didn't do. But we, without any shadow of a doubt, condemn the killing of any babies, women or children.
بعدين درينك يلا say بسم الله يلا drink.
Okay, let's talk about Hamas now, and let's try to be objective looking at this and what's happened. And before talking about the children and all of that and all of these scenarios, let's first talk about the Palestinians themselves. According to the UN law that you yourself claim to follow, they have a right to armed struggle and armed resistance. This is mentioned in the law under UN resolutions. They mention the Palestinians by name. They have a right to defend themselves. Why do they have a right to defend themselves? Because this is an apartheid colonial state, as it is stated by every human rights organization on earth, as it is stated by the UN, and as it is stated by even the leader of the Zionist movement, Herzl, when he sent his letter, he said this will be something colonial. Even the former Mossad leader, which is a spy agency, the chief of the former Mossad agency, he himself says to you that this is an apartheid colonial state. Apartheid state meaning that they're separating between them based on race, and they're treated as second-class citizens. They have no right to self-determination. They have no right to anything. Don't even have right to food and water being delivered to them. So, according to the UN law, those Palestinians have the right to defend themselves. They have the right to armed struggles, according to the UN law, just like the Algerians did when the French colonized them, just like the Indians did, just like the Egyptians did, just like the South people of South Africa did. All of them had the right to armed struggle to defend themselves against the colonial. And these people are colonialists based on the UN, as I said, that you claim to be a person who cares about human rights, to be a person who actually cares about what the UN says and all of these you come to us and talk to us about human rights, and you claim to be the moral superior. But when you look at this human rights resolution that you have, you're pretending as if these people have no right to self-determination. You're pretending as if these people have no right to armed struggle. And whenever they do armed struggle, they're labeled as X, Y, and Z. I'm not going to even mention the word because of the censorship on YouTube. So this is what they're labeled. And when in reality, you yourself as the UN saying that these people have the right to armed struggle. Now, when it comes to this idea of killing babies or doing something to babies and all of these claims that we've seen, all of these newspapers on social media and all of these liars, fake individuals like Ben Shapiro putting, and in reality, when the IDF themselves were questioned, or do you have any evidence that this event took place, all of them have claimed that they don't have evidence. They have been multiple times pushed by news media outlets to ask them for where is the evidence for this claim of these 40 babies being decapitated and all of these claims that took place.
The reporting by one Israeli TV channel that 40 babies were murdered by Hamas, including being beheaded, makes a number of the front pages. We have asked on 3 occasions the IDF to confirm. They have not confirmed this reporting.
And they did not answer. And they themselves said that they do not have any evidence for this taking place. And then you have individuals, liars, clear-cut liars who do not care. Like this individual, Ben Shapiro, putting a picture that is AI generated, his own platform that he's putting the picture on, which is Twitter, now called X. It is the community notes is saying that this is an AI generated pictures. And many people have put in the comments telling him that this is not the case. This is not referring to what happened. This is an AI generated image because of the finger displacement in the image. And he doesn't care. He left the post because he knows there is hundreds of thousands of people who think that Hamas did this. And why do they claim 40 people? And why did they claim 40 children? And why did they claim 40 babies? And why did they claim that they were decapitated? Because they want you to think that this was an organized mission. It was 40. It was not just one casualty that happened when people were not noticing it. It was intentional because it's decapitation. So this is the image that they want to give you, Hamas, in order for you to think that this is an equal war. Those barbarics are doing this to babies and children. Therefore, yeah, they deserve to be also killed. They deserve what's happening to them. This is the image that they're trying to give you. And in the end, they use fake AI-generated pictures. And even the AI-generated picture, if we assume this image is true and we take his claim, that is an image that you cannot even tell whether it's a human being or an animal or a baby or whatever it is, and it is burnt. So if it's a human being being burnt, that means it was not an intentional 40 babies killing. It was probably like a fire that took place or something similar to that. So even the images that they're using, it does not align with the claims that they're making. But they rely on people's ignorance. They rely on people not understanding what's going on. They rely on people being completely oblivious to reality. And then they mention the Hamas taking prisoners. What are you talking about taking prisoners? We just mentioned that you have over 2.5 million people as prisoners under the world's largest prison in human history. It's not even a normal prison because they're not even given food. They're not even given electricity or water. So what are you talking about? The Hamas took some prisoners here or there. Where is the mind and the intellect of these individuals? And then you get people, liars like this individual. He's saying to the people, we tell the Palestinians to evacuate before the air strikes. Evacuate where? They are on a human blockade. Wherever they will try to go, they will be killed. If they go to the sea, your Navy SEALs are going to kill them. They go to other places in the land, you will claim that they are intruders who are trying to kill you, and then you will shoot them dead. Just like as we have seen already in many videos online. So under what basis are you telling the people to go evacuate? Evacuate where? And you're telling them to be refugees. They're already refugees. There is over 6 million refugees of Palestinians outside the land of Palestine, according to the UN. 70% of the people who are already living in Gaza, 70% of them are already refugees since the days of the Nakba of 1948. They're already refugees. You're telling them to be refugees again. And you have the entrance, the Ma'bar to Egypt or any other places, you continuously bomb it using aircraft. So where are they going to be refugees? Where are they going to go? And now, this is the clear hypocrisy of individuals who claim to be morally superior, the people in the West who claim to care about human rights. We're showing them what the UN is saying. We're showing them the laws that is written by them and their countries. And now you see America claiming that they are with Israel. You see America sending weapons. Even though all these weapons I mentioned to you in the beginning of the video, they're sending them more weapons. They're sending them more helps. And they're calling any armed resistance as T-words and all of that. Why? They'll claim, that Israel has the right to self-defense. Are you living in reality? And you see the US, how they pretend to be morally superior when it comes to the war between is happening today in Ukraine. And how they help Ukraine, which actually has an army, which actually have weapons, which actually have tanks, which actually can defend themselves using weapons. and they help them. They send them more aid, they send them tanks, and they send them weapons. But when it comes to the Palestinians, no, they're not equal human beings. Obviously, they're not white people. They're not Westerners. So therefore, it's okay. Their blood is okay. Then you get an idiot who comes talking to you about peace, who have no clue of history and how this land was taken a day by day from the Palestinians, and their families are being killed on a daily basis. They're being bombed, they're being killed. And then you get someone who's coming and saying, oh, why don't they accept peace? Accept what peace? They have no chance to have peace. They have no chance for self-determination. So this video here it's a clear sign for anyone who actually is looking for facts. Anyone who's actually pretending to have a human heart, to actually be on the middle of the situation, trying to look at facts and make a decision, not feelings of pictures that they've been showing. There's actually lies that even their own social media outlets have admitted that there is no evidence for this, and these are lies being spread. So if you have a human heart, if you can think, if you have a human intellect, I think this video should be enough for you to know which side you should stand with, and to know who is the oppressor and who is the oppressed, who is the colonial, and whether this is an apartheid state or not.